What up, everybody? It's another crazy week. We're going to talk about religion. We're going to talk about Vivek. Is he legit or not? And Maui's looking more and more suspicious the more we look at it. And last but not least, the hood is turning out for Trump, and I love to see it. Stick around. Did you see that article about the paper straws having cancer-causing stuff in them now?
What's going on?
Apparently that. I don't know. Apparently it's tied to some stuff that has carcinogens on it or whatever, and it's just like, of course it does. Of course this is worse than the plastic one.
And the thing is, you know what though? The environmentalists, they don't give a shit. They still want to. They're like, people dying faster? Yes. They love that shit.
Good. The whales are overcrowded.
Right.
Yeah, but they don't mind the windmills or whatever, the wind turbines out in the middle of the ocean killing all these whales.
Killing all the whales.
Let's talk about Hawaii. Let's do this.
So what is going on? Apparently,
let's just list the weird stuff for a second, and then you tell me the new weird stuff.
All right, go.
Sheriff in Nashville, Tennessee, or wherever the big shooting was, is the same sheriff type person that's over top of this particular city/neighborhood as well.
Yes.
In the one in fire, which is crazy to begin with, because what happened in Nashville could not have been normal or be what they told us. So that's one thing. So this seems weird too. Second thing, a lot of blue stuff seems to have not burnt for some reason in Maui. I don't know anything about that yet. Let me just say them all. I don't know about that either.
I think the conspiracy theorists are going a little too far with that one.
That's fine.
I'll be honest.
That's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know what they're referencing and why that would be weird. I have seen pictures of stuff that was blue not be burned right next to other stuff that wasn't blue and everything else that wasn't. And I'm just like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But I don't know. What do I know? The other thing is a lot of the houses were burned, but not the trees directly next to them. So that was strange. There was a lot of those incidences that it seems to be true. So there's also a lot of the locals are saying that there's 1,200 kids missing instead of the 100 or whatever that they're saying should be missing. That's strange. There's also media blackouts for some reason in certain parts, which is strange.
They won't let media come in. They're even arrested, apparently, an independent journalist.
Yes. Also, there's two other things. When there is local resident reporting of when they were attempting to put the fires out with their hoses, that the water supply company cut the power to the water or something.
I've got a new piece of information on that for you. You're just going to love this.
Okay. So then there's the side where the police had barricades up where you weren't allowed to go or exit certain types of ways. So people that were turned away at the barricade went home and burned to death. That's a thing.
No, they burned in their cars.
Or burned in their cars. Right.
Isn't that awful?
Yeah. So there's that. So these are all just surrounding it. And then you've got the connection with the, now there was the electric company is saying that they cut their power to that problem hours before the fires actually started. So something else must have started the fire. So now we are at that many coincidences about this story or things about this story. Right. What do you have for us?
So I'm going to give you an added piece of information on the water being cut off. So the guy that didn't necessarily cut it off, they had to open up another thing, like another whatever, they have all these civil engineers come up with the way you store it and routes and turn this off, open this off, blah, blah, blah. The guy in charge of the water had to open up another, let's just call it a bay of some sort, had to open it up, and it's up to him. And hey, they're calling, hey, we need water. So open up whatever, bay 7 to let in all that, we need that water. The guy refused to open it up. And when he got on the news, when they're like, why wouldn't you open it up? See, the Hawaiians, we revere water. We call it, whatever, Lahuda, and it is the water god, and therefore I swear to God, this is his explanation. We can find a clip on it and everything. He says that because they revere water like that he just wasn't going to let it go willy-nilly like that. Essentially, he didn't use willy-nilly. That's my thing.
Right,
but he basically said because
mean.
we honor the water spirit, they shouldn't have the water to put out the fire spirit.
So he knew there was fire going on?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So is he charged with murder yet?
No. And
or abating arson or something? I don't know. Anything?
No, none of them. The one guy that refused to turn on the sirens, about the sirens and no text messages.
Yeah.
Did you hear that there was a small fire a few days ago? on right near Lahaina, excuse me. And they said that suddenly their text message system worked. The sirens that were left went off. Wow, gee. Seemed to be working pretty good for that fire. Now, the city guy who made the decision not to turn on the sirens for the big fire that we're talking about, he said, because people are taught that the sirens mean tsunamis, they would probably get in their cars and go to high ground and they would run into the fire. So that's why he said that, even if people see fire, I guess they'll just drive right into it, because it's like, oh no, the sirens say tsunami's coming, hun. We got to drive right into this fire. That's what he said. Somebody found on the Hawaii.gov website, though, that it said sirens can be used for warning the population about tsunamis, blah, 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 wildfires, blah, 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 blah. So he's probably not going to get into trouble, but
I think he resigned already.
Yes, he did resign, but he should still get into trouble. I don't care. You still made that decision. Just because you quit doesn't negate what you did at the job. Like, now you need to be held responsible. So that's weird. The electric company is trying to claim that, but when somebody is done, like aerial, before they stopped letting drones go, somebody got 4K footage and everything of the drone. You can see right where this fire started on the transformers, like, that those areas that they have that have all the electrical thingies. It looks like a big science experiment. That you can see right where it is. And the fire goes that way. So it is most likely an electrical grid problem. They are saying that also, the locals are saying that the power grid, they've been begging for them to upkeep and maintain better the power grid, because they had been having problems with it. They're saying the reason why they didn't have the funding for that
because they were paying into woke green initiatives.
Green initiatives.
Of course.
But when they did do the footage, it looks like it. Now, of course, I'm not an expert. This is somebody, a citizen journalist type of thing, but it does. You can right where the big hot point is, and then you can see where it's spread. You're right about the kids. The way that they found out about the kids, do you know how they know about the numbers of kids? Is the school roster. Public schools have to have all their, they're trying to keep it under wraps, but public schools, we may not get names, but we can look at our school districts and find out how many students should be enrolled and blah, blah, blah. 3,000 students are enrolled. Only 1,000 have been accounted for. And I think another 1,000, they have those, but there's still like 1,500 kids missing. They don't have the roster. Like, where are they? They're just gone. So did you hear about school being canceled, or they were sent home that day? Parents weren't given notifications, so everybody's at work. The kids were sent home. There were like 10-year-olds home alone and stuff like that. Like, I know. Did you hear about the guy, the 15-year-old?
Dude, that's so hard to hear, man. Think about my own kids. I just would never want them to die alone like that.
You're about to hear something awful. And this story has been told on liberal media and everything. This is a real story. The police were blocking off areas, and this lady, as the fire was starting to engulf her neighborhood, this lady tried to run into the neighborhood. She's like, my 14-year-old son, he's home. And they said, no, we've been through everything. Everyone's evacuated, blah, blah, blah. Fire comes through 9 hours later as they're going through the wreckage and everything before they closed off the town. The older brother found his 14-year-old brother in the house, burned to death, hugging the family dog. And they wouldn't let her back in. So the police were cutting off. I watched hours of footage of people are starting to upload. Maui residents are starting to upload their footage of trying to get out. And you see it. You see them driving. Finally we're seeing blue skies. Oh, see, honey, everything's fine, blah, blah. Then you see, what's this? And then you see a police going like this. And the people turning back around, turning away from clear blue skies and right back into the fire. That happened at multiple points.
And what was crazy is I've also seen people that are trying to bring supplies in to help with things and being turned away, and cops just being like, I'm just following orders, not allowed to get by. And it's like, dude, that shit's not going to fly much longer. We don't trust a lot of you guys anymore, meaning anybody that's governmental agency trying to say they're just following orders, or businesses just saying they're following policy or following orders, bro. We're done with it, man. We're done with it.
I hope
And
so
it just
because they're
seems
letting
like-
it happen. FEMA and Red Cross are already milking the money.
So that was one thing I wanted to talk about was FEMA because
What's going on? And it took like FEMA, what, 15 days to even start getting there? Because everybody started to be like, hey, where's the cavalry? Well, and I'm not opposed to like the theory that a direct energy, whatever is the truth, I want to find it, right? But right now, people need fucking help, and obviously FEMA's blocking. The residents on the ground are saying that local people are trying to help. They're giving the contracts to mainlanders and stuff like that. I know, wait a minute, I have a TikToker who did say that the Marines intercepted a convoy of FEMA and blah, 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 but that was immediately like debunked, supposedly.
everything else is still weird
And
without all
these
that.
are from locals. Have you seen the real estate guy that's going viral on YouTube? That he's been bringing attention to it. You should keep up on his stuff. Here, let's just show it to the
Yes,
people.
he's the guy who was like, I'm not allowed to film, but because I'm not in something I can, or something like that.
Something
He's like
like
a
that.
guru, right?
Well, he's a real estate guy. He's been like giving interviews just with his little camera and everything. He's got a Starlink and everything, and just sitting people down like, oh, okay, your family was where? Oh, the fire was coming. What did you guys do? Blah, blah, blah. He's getting real stories from real people saying this. Like,
So I went around back to Front Street, and there was all the cars were lined up, but none of them were moving. And I walked all the way from Safeway to the Chart House. Not one car had moved. And I was wondering what was stopping the traffic. And I got to the end, and I looked up. There were no obstructions. There was no reason to keep those cars. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm under orders to keep them here. And I said, the fire is right around Safeway. It's going to hit Front Street. You know, these people got to get out of here. And he said, I'm following orders.
No way.
And so I just kept walking. Well, maybe he knows something I don't, you know. So, and I keep walking down the highway, and I look behind. No cars are coming out. Still no cars coming out. And I started hearing boom, boom, boom.
yeah, they wouldn't let me go by. Or people who survived that he's actually able to interview said, yeah, they were blocking me off. I knew that the gate to this restaurant was open, and I just went through. I went around and went around the police blockade by that. Like weird stuff that people had to do to skip the blockades. Like people were like, the only way I survived is because I ignored authority.
Right.
Like we're gonna descend into chaos because I don't blame them either. I don't trust any authority.
Right now, if there was a big alarm of some sort that was going on around here, and then a bunch of like officers told me something,
Oh my God.
I would be like,
right.
I need a drone so I can see what you're saying.
10
See
years
if it's
ago,
true or not.
would you have doubted?
Not a thing.
Exactly.
Not a thing.
I mean, I'm always cautious about approaching these, but now I definitely I
No
side eye
way.
everyone.
It's almost like, I don't know, man. Everything just seems so wonky. I don't believe any of the people anymore.
Well, what do you think is up with that? What do you think is up? Why did FEMA take 15 days to get there? And that was only because people are like, hello, we need help. And then Joe Biden had to interrupt his second vacation in a row, Lake Tahoe.
Why do I think? I don't know the answer for that.
Me neither.
I have no idea why they would let things get so much worse. But
Especially in a
it
blue
depends,
area.
And it depends on how many billions of dollars are worth,
They gave them. They signed $12 billion for Maui relief, and of course they're already fighting for contracts. That's what actually I watched.
$12 billion.
I watched a 3-hour city council meeting. This is how I'm keeping up. How much I'm keeping up on it. A boring ass city council meeting where people get 3 minutes to talk. The Maui city council meeting. Their city council members are saying that workers, construction workers, people who could use this money in Maui, and they know their own town, so perfect, they should be getting the contracts. They're saying no. FEMA and Red Cross and the government is already giving the contracts to mainlanders. They call the regular companies and I guess big box companies mainlanders. And it's already happening. Like the corruption just...
Yeah.
It starts immediately. Like they're already... the politicians are already like...
All right, like, well, how can I get a kickback? How can I get a kickback? Let me get a piece of that 12 bill.
Right. As soon as
And
they
that's the
saw
thing
that.
about all this, man. Like, it's from every angle that you think you're not being deceived, it's a whole nother level. You know this Vivek guy that everybody's like, he's pretty decent?
I saw what is he being exposed? What's going on?
Yeah, kind of so.
So what
Here,
happened?
I'll show you.
Yeah, I'm confused because I mean I like him better than DeSantis at this point.
Of course. DeSantis acting like there was, you know.
And, do you know that the polls are trying to say that Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis actually gained percentage after the debate? Meanwhile, Trump and Vivek lost percentages.
After 250 million people watched Tucker Carlson's interview with Trump and only 24 million watched Fox's entire debate, my ass. Bro, it's over.
It's literally rigged. DeSantis, I like DeSantis actually. I've liked him mostly. He's a politician, so of course nothing is perfect. But he did not do very well in that debate. He just
watch this.
He coasted.
So first, let me just address a question that is on everybody's mind at home tonight. Who the heck is this skinny guy with a funny last name, and what the heck is he doing in the middle of this debate stage? I'll tell you, I'm not a politician.
Of a mill worker's son who dares to defy the odds. The hope of a skinny kid with a funny name who believes that America has a place for him too.
So who is Vivek Ramaswamy? The Obama plagiarizing Big Pharma CEO, who wrote a book less than a year ago in which he compared Trump to sore loser Stacey Abrams, said he respects Pence, and says that Mike Pence did the right thing on January 6th. A man who tweeted out well said George Soros and seemingly even parroted his rhetoric on open societies. A man who took money for his law school from a Soros fellowship, said he did it in a video defending himself, quote, when I didn't have the money.
When I didn't have the money and it was a merit scholarship.
Yet Fox News reported that he made millions of dollars that year and $1 million every year for a couple years prior, so he lied about that. A man who made a fortune off of a failed Alzheimer's drug, and a man who just last year wrote a Wall Street Journal op-ed in which he said, the most important step in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic was the distribution of vaccines. That's in 2022. So who is Big Pharma salesman Vivek? Well, he's whoever you want him to be, because just like Obama, he'll say whatever he has to say, even copying Obama, to tell the naive and foolish sheeple what they want to hear. Everyone's giving this guy softball interviews and weak debates. Vivek, if you want a real challenge, come on my channel. I don't buy your shtick at all.
I feel like I've seen him in like the Breakfast Club interview
I
and
have
everything.
seen him
They've
saying
been pretty.
I know they have not been soft, and he's been really good at speaking. But he's so good at speaking, it reminds me of an enthusiastic Obama figure type.
Yeah, but we need one of those on our side. But you know,
I don't know
what,
if he's on
Ross?
our side, is what I'm saying. If you're
Right.
look at this stage in the game, if you're a politician and you don't recognize the danger of these jabs, I don't trust you.
Right.
How have you not looked at the information that I've looked at? I'm not an idiot, and you are supposed to be smarter than me, and you're sitting here giving them a pass, and they're putting a new one out in the next couple weeks,
Right.
bro. Which politician can I even trust? Even Trump.
I know, I was just about to say, but that's no different than Trump, and I don't think he's said that he likes mandates or anything. The thing is that he does. I'm not going to blame him for still being a politician and a human with interests. It's almost like me. If I have an avocado farm and you're thinking about, hey, maybe I should eat avocados, I'm going to be like, yeah, you should really eat avocados because I have personal interest in it, because that would help me because I'm an avocado farmer. Same thing with him. He's in the pharmaceutical industry. He's going to put those are the products that he believes in. Now, whether, you see what I mean? So it's not necessarily, he's
okay.
not saying mandates like
No,
Biden
I get it right now.
So, right. You're right.
Honestly, the big test is we need to just go check his parents for connections with the CIA, because I swear all these people show up that way, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's stinking connected to them jokers.
Right. So I'm not sure. I think there might be something, but Jesus H. Christ, like, I'm so tired of this. And I'm so tired of this. Our politics has turned into a monster. It's about entertainment. It's about how good you look, how
Right.
well you can speak, this and that. And like you hear CNN and Fox News and everybody's like, well, yeah, so-and-so, he stuttered a little bit while he was answering the question, even though he answered it beautifully. I just don't think the people really liked when he stuttered. What the fuck does that even mean?
Right. They're not even trying to act like they're thinking rationally,
Right. And us as the American...
It's this phrase. They're lying. We know they're lying. They know we know that they're lying.
What are we doing?
And they're still lying.
because we're eating it up.
Right.
Look at the way that I know it's that stuff is a little bit fucked up in this country and the way that politics run. I will not concede on this. The way that what's his name, John Fetterman, got elected.
Yeah.
The fucking
against Dr. Oz, like a celebrity.
The whole doctor. People said, because, Dr. Oz, he wasn't a very likable person. Even Ben Shapiro was talking about this like it was, he just wasn't likable. And, people, they don't like it, blah, blah. It's like,
What
wait
do you
a
mean
minute,
not likable? This guy had a show with millions of people watching it. He was everybody's favorite person.
Right. And
what do you mean?
I still think he kind of has like a weaselly look to him. But if I had to choose, we're flying a plane. My life, everything, my taxes, my money, everything depends on this plane, okay? My everything. And I'm going to pick a brain dead stroke victim before I pick a whole doctor. I'd be like, you know what? I probably, even though I don't like the guy, I'm going to pick the doctor.
Right.
Over the guy
who can't speak.
He can't understand people.
It's like a prerequisite for engaging with him is you have to prepare that he cannot speak.
He has to
it's
be
like,
up,
what?
And then he doesn't even, have you seen him like say stuff in the Senate and everything? And then when we put the shoes on for the society and we're just supposed to act like it's normal. He says he doesn't know what he's saying.
Right.
So that's why I am so sick of this political climate that we're in, where it's entertainment and it's like, the voters, they really like him. They didn't really like him. He didn't come off as a likable guy. It's like,
You're telling us what to think, and they're gonna stay there. But it's like they can create an entirely fake world and present it to people, and that's what the people believe.
People are, yes,
right. They believe it. They actually do.
People
At least they
vote
used
for
to,
him.
but they're losing now. Because
Right.
Twitter is a thing and they can't control the entire narrative. Do you remember what it was like before Elon bought Twitter? Before Elon bought Twitter, it felt like there was like probation on speech everywhere. And it was all the same lies. That's the crazy thing is that they coordinate so well. And when you look at who pays the fact checkers, Russell Brand has a great video on that. But anyway, let's watch your Nancy Pelosi video.
We call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and if they see it's reported in the press that this, and this, so they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made.
This is entertainment. This is all fucking game.
It's theater.
Theater,
right?
very
It's supposed
good.
to change the hearts of the masses about whatever they want.
Look how easy she said that, and I thought that was quite complex to be explained. Like I was like, gosh, you really thought a lot about this. Look at how it's like a science for them.
Right.
To do this on this fake stuff, because a lot of it is smear. It's usually not anything that's true, or it's embellished.
They know how much they have to put out. It's like if I wanted like people to believe an invasion happened or something on like the beach the other day, and me and you were in passing, and I paid a person to come up next to us as I'm talking and ask us about it, and I would be like, hey, you come up in like 20 minutes and say, did you guys see that beach landing or whatever? And then I'm talking to you, you haven't heard of the beach landing, and I'm like, yeah, there's this crazy beach landing, and you're using your objective brain right now, and you're like, was there? And then a second person comes up and goes, did you guys see that beach landing? And you're like, oh, well, shit.
It must be true.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck. Where was this at? And then nobody ever does the investigation. And then 2 days later,
I go and tell someone else, hey, that beach landing.
Yeah, well, that same, you being the person, you're like still in that mode. And then 2 weeks later, the truth is reported a couple of days later, whatever. But then you're in this conversation and they're like, well, with the reason we need better security is because we keep having these beach landings. And you're like, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do. And now you're in favor of a policy that this politician's in line with because you were manipulated.
Yeah.
But it's too late. So they know how much they can lie and get away with to turn the masses in certain ways. And it's like they've just mastered it now, which is why lies are dangerous, man. Thou shalt not bear false witness. It does matter, everybody.
Yep.
And I'm pretty convinced that it's going to get worse.
Right? I mean, all those little lies matter because
now you have to weed through 55 articles on the internet before you find the truth. Look at the
we just did it right
efficacy
now.
of masks right now. People are still thinking that masks somehow After everything we've been through, and nobody's wearing them anymore. So you were just cool with killing people with COVID for the last 4 months, and now you're not again? What's going on? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? You took it off. You put it back on now?
And did you see now they have studies? There's literally an NIH study, which is like the official like CDC or whatever for the UK, saying that the N95 Max were proven to have carcinogenic stuff in it that people were breathing in. There's literally, it's on the internet. We can find it. Oh, okay. Yeah. So what are we going to do?
Right.
We got to make a decision.
So I made a video the other day when I said that if you have a expert in a field that says one thing and then somebody that's equally credentialed to him in that field contradicts it, you're not allowed to pick your favorite person anymore. You have a responsibility to dive into the information and do your best with that fight right there. Right. And if you don't, then you're just
critical thinking.
Yeah, and that's what I called it in the video that I made. I was like, that's called critical thinking.
Well, did you see?
But nobody does that anymore because they hear one and then they're like, well, the others, I heard that too, but I'm still sticking with this one. So you're blindly loyal? That's dumb.
Yeah,
you have to dive into the information.
The other one.
Right, you have to.
Like we look at CNN and stuff like that. It's not like, we don't like what they're saying, but we need to know.
They help me figure out what the truth is, usually by lying, right? But Fox does the same thing where they embellish something or act like whatever, and it's just...
So it's important to, and use your critical thinking to make that decision. But even the media themselves, have you seen the latest articles coming out the last 2 years about how critical thinking and looking up news is bad for you? I will send you some. You have got to do a video on somebody saying that critical thinking.
Did you see that video I put up? Yeah, you were here for it when they were like doing your own research and there was a compilation.
So dumb. Yeah.
Don't do your own research.
Why would you do that?
Like, a lot of people are gonna wait and see. No, don't do that. Just jump right in the water.
Make brash decisions.
Yeah.
Everything that they told you not to do, like everything you've been taught not to do, they're saying, no, do that. Jump to conclusions. Don't trust your critical thinking. Don't read more. Like they're saying, it's so strange. The world we're living in, it's like me saying it out loud and it's true. I can't even believe that I'm saying it. Like 10 years ago, I would have been like, well, no, our society wouldn't go down that far.
Yeah, they went way further.
They went further than we thought.
They're way worse.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's all good. Positive story for the week. Positive story for the week is that the hoods are all coming out in favor of Donald Trump ever since he got arrested. They're like, you know what? The only people they do this to are people that are actually good. So I bet you he's good. And they're all being like, yeah, he's my president anyway. Let's go. And I'm seeing Atlanta and all these other places are getting hype about it. And it's like, dude, that's now you see why they're importing so many other cultures, because they lost the one they thought they had now that they've seen the truth. And it's toast time. I don't know we're going to make it to 2024. I think it's going to be some crazy stuff that happens that's going to stop another election.
I think, you know what I think is going to happen? Maybe not in 2024 itself, but very soon, is that we are going to have an issue with, like you said, the migrant class, that culture.
Clashing with American class.
Well, with black culture, black American culture, it's going to, and it's not going to be pretty. They're already, have you seen Chicago gave a illegal immigrant, undocumented, whatever thing that they're using, is now allowed to be a police officer in Chicago.
That's crazy.
Could you imagine that as a citizen being fucking arrested in
by
your
somebody
country?
That's not even a citizen. Yeah,
to
that's
me,
crazy.
I'm sorry. I was disgustedly insulted when I saw that, because I was imagining. Could you imagine if I was a Chicago citizen? I would be enraged.
Sure, I get it. I agree. I think
a non-citizen.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Getting paid by your tax dollars.
And if they're not even assimilated either, it's like you don't even understand the values of the Constitution, or why we have individual liberty, or why we have a Bill of Rights where you're not allowed to just come up and demand my papers and whatever. We have a way of operating here that is foreign to every other country, and that's why it's the best country in the world, and you're supposed to be an enforcement person.
They came from the third world country where they think hey, you say something, I can smack you in the mouth.
Right.
That's
corruption's about to go crazy.
Work? Oh yeah, exactly. And they are not going to be gentle either. They are not going to be gentle, because again, they come from a third world country. You think a 6-month police training program is going to take that out, like a whole culture where, it's okay if somebody is saying F the police, you smack them in the mouth or you chase them with your baton. That's okay where they come from. Not here.
Right. Well,
crazy.
Yeah, getting crazy.